Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you. From Yahuwah, our Father, and Yahusha. He is the Mashayah, the one that carries the burden of Yah, his voice, our high priest, soon coming King. Hear, O Yeshurun, Yahuwah, who is our mighty one. He is one. There is no other mighty one in existence than Yahuwah, and Yahusha is his voice. This is Brother Daoud coming to you again with Pope Gregory's calendar. This is part 3. The Matrix, the Metonic cycle. Morpheus. He's going to spit knowledge. Let's hear what he has to say. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. Let's apply this to the children of Yeshurun. And many of them are so inured, so accustomed, so hopelessly dependent on the system. What system is that? White supremacy, that they will fight to protect it. Isn't that what you see? When you tell people the Shabbats are not on Pope Gregory's calendar, they're in the sky. Isn't that what you see when you tell people there is no statute for you to make an adjustment to the calendar if the barley harvest is not ripe, or if the moon has moved away from the sun in the amount of 30 days? They're ready to tear you to pieces. I want to tell you what they are trying to do with their adjustments. They're trying to control the weather on paper. Let's begin. The Metonic cycle, or Eniadicatoris. Eniadicatoris? What is that? It's a compound word. Look up top. Ennead. A group of 9 related deities. This is dealing with astrology, astronomy, the study of the sun, the moon, and the stars, including Osiris, Isis, and Set. Where does this come from? Egypt. Caterus. All other things being unchanged or constant. Okay, so let's put the two together with our understanding that we have now. The sun, the moon, and the stars being unchanged or constant is a period of almost exactly 19 years, after which the lunar phases recur at the same time of the year. The reoccurrence is not perfect, and by precise observation, the Metonic cycle, defined as 235 synodic months, is just 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 58 seconds longer than 19 tropical years. Did you hear that? The Metonic cycle is just observation. They're watching the movement of the sun, the moon, and the stars. So this is legitimate. There's nothing wrong with the Metonic cycle until you add the rules of postponement. This is where the problem is. You see, the Metonic cycle is a legitimate cycle that can be observed in the heavens. Once you add the rules of postponement to the Metonic cycle, now you have corrupted it. It does not change what is happening in the heavens. It only changes things on paper. Let's read. If there should be 355 or 385, you know what they're talking about, right? The moon has 354 days. Why is it 355? Because they're dealing with Pope Gregory's calendar, in which they have to be in line with. What is 385? 385 is when they add their extra months. Can you find 355 days in the Metonic cycle in the heavens? No. What about 385 days in the heavens? No. Chesvan has an extra day. What is Chesvan? Look on the bottom. Droplet. It's speaking of the 8th month. Brother Dawood, what do you mean the 8th month? Why are they looking for a droplet in the 8th month? Let's continue. And if there should be 353 or 383, okay, so first they added. Now they've taken away a day or 2 days. And then they made an adjustment for 28 days. Kislev loses a day. What is Kislev? Look on the bottom. It's the 3rd month. If the time of the Molad, what is that? Look on the bottom. 3. New moon is afternoon. What do you mean? If the time of the Molad is afternoon. Are you speaking about the evening? That's the only time when Hadash comes out. Oh, I forgot. They're not dealing with Hadash. They're dealing with the dark moon, astronomical calculations or conjunctions, which means their moon can come out anytime they want it to. Has nothing to do with observation. So if the time of the Molad is afternoon, Rosh Hashanah, what is that? Look on the bottom. The 1st month is postponed to the next day. If Rosh Hashanah would fall on a Sunday, this is on Pope Gregory's calendar now, on Wednesday or on Friday, then it is postponed to the next day. Brother Dawood, what are they talking about? I told you before. This is the matrix. They have created it. They use Meton for legitimacy. Then they destroyed the observation altogether by adding their rules of postponement, and the beginning of their year is in the 7th month or the 8th month or wherever they decide it should be. The Hillel II calendar. Listen to what they're going to tell you. Used today is based on a 19-year cycle called the Metonic cycle. Okay, they told you a lot here. First, they told you the Hillel II calendar that is used today is not the same as the one that Hillel II used in his days. They're telling you that the one that is used today is based on the 19-year cycle called the Metonic cycle. Have you ever seen the movie? It said, based on a true story. The story may be true, but the rest of it is fabricated. What is the story that is true here? The 19-year cycle? What is the fabricated part? The rules of postponement. This calendar normally, see, a normal calendar has 12 months each year, but sometimes it is necessary to add a 13th month. Look what's in parentheses. More information. An embolismic month called Adar II. Embolismic? Well, you see the word embolism. What is that? An obstruction in the arteries? An abnormal obstruction in the arteries? I think they called it a blood clot that could lead to death. Okay. So let's use the correct word. An abnormal month called Adar II. Adar II? Adar is the 12th month. You have to have 2 12th months. Is any of this in the book? The reason that you have to have 2 12 months, according to this new Hillel II calendar created by the Jews, if the barley is not ripe, or if the fruit trees had not bloomed. Is any of that in Scripture? Have you ever seen a statute to tell you this? If Yah wanted you to add a 13th month, he would have given you a statute in the law for you to do so. But this is huge, what they're telling you, if you're paying attention. They're telling you right here, Yah did not pour out his precious rains for them. So they have to keep adjusting the calendar and keeping the months near the equinox, where usually the rain, the dew, and the heat comes down, but it doesn't for them. Why? They're not his people. They have no promise. You see, only we have the promise. All we have to do is be in the land and keep the commandments, and the Father would open up the windows of heaven and pour us out the dew, the heat, and the rain at its appointed time, no matter what month of the year it is. Only they have to create an illusion to feed their delusion that they are the chosen people. Well, they are the chosen people of God, but God does not have the power to fly up in the heavens and change anything on their behalf. So they said, we're going to create our own korbanot, our own laws, our own statutes. Guess who's following them? The children of Yeshurun. They were chosen to lead, but they continue to follow the Gentiles. Now, I showed you something earlier that the Jews have their new year near the equinox in autumn. That's the first month for them. What is the first month for us? How do you find out? The starting point. What is it that I must know in order to find Yah's appointments? The path of years. Once every 32 to 32 and a half years, sunrise. It's called the Great Conjunction, when the sun and the moon will be in its original starting position, just like in Genesis chapter 1. Yeah. Brother Mayako brought out a massive point to me. That Yah stretched forth his arm to the children of Yisrael in the land of Egypt. He spoke to Masha and Aharon, and he said to them, "This month shall be the beginning of months for you. Watch it, guard it, protect it, observe it, memorialize it. All of my appointments are on it." Fast forward to modern times. In 2017, Yah stretched forth his arm again. This time, he spoke to Daud ben Yashayahu, and he said the Shabbats and the feast days are wrong. Sent me in great distress. Then he told me what to do. Take the book of Hanuk, go outside, learn all of the lunar phases, study the moon. I did that. In 2018, in March, I was out there, looking, watching, waiting. Then all of a sudden, Hidash. There she is. I see her in the western sky. Almost lost my mind. Jumping up and down, took a picture, then went to make my video. I didn't really understand what I was looking at. I didn't know that he was putting us on the path of years. Look, on the bottom is the solar calendar, and on the top is the lunar calendar. What do you see? The 18th, sunrise, on the solar calendar on the bottom, and 18th, the lunar calendar on the top. They both came out on the same day? Which one came first? Sunrise. 12 hours later, look who showed up. Hidash. Then the moon goes into conjunction with the sun every single month, 12 months, 12 hours per month. If you add them together, 6 days. There's your 6-day overplus. Then the Alayam, the angels, the watchers, the messengers, they added their 4 intercalary days. Then something else happened. In 2019, the path of years was revealed. And no one else saw it. Do you know what people say? That Yah did not stretch forth his arm to us at the end of our 400-year captivity? But he did. Just their matrix thinking had them looking in the wrong places. For example, when the Mashaya came, what were they expecting? A military leader, someone who would free them from the Roman occupation, from colonization. But instead, he came to free them from transgression of the law, so that they could return to he who is seated upon the throne. Their thinking was off. They too were in the matrix, under the occupation of the Gentiles. Now we can fast forward again to modern times. In 2019, our brothers, they thought that he was going to come in the clouds with power and great glory, conquer all of his and our enemies, and take us home. How could he? No one returned. All of us forgot. Forgot what? The path of years. We didn't know how to tell time. So the first thing he had to do was to put us back on his time, to make his appointments. So he raised me up. And I am responsible to raise others up, to get this message out. All right. Look at the calendar on the bottom. I drew a diagram there. I know my lines are not straight, but I think I did a good job. We spotted the renewed moon on the 7th in the evening. I was out there again. I saw it myself, which made New Moon's Day March 8th. How does the day work? From the evening of the 7th to the evening of the 8th. Okay, so New Moon's Day is day number 8, which will make it the first day of the month. We start our count from there. Count 10 days. You come to the 17th. That's 10 days. The moon was already out 10 days before the 18th, which they called the equinox, but now we know it as sunrise. So it was 10 days exactly before the equinox. Do you know what the big deal is about this? It happens once every 32 to 32 and a half years. So would you say this was a coincidence? It was not. Yah stretched forth his arm to us. Let me tell you what our brothers did. They slapped it away. They followed the Gentiles. In 2019, the Jews, they said the barley harvest was not ripe, so they had to add a 13th month. I went ballistic. I went to see the rabbis. I wanted to know, how did you come about this calculation, and where can I find it in the scripture? They told me the only way that you can learn how this count is done, which basically I could not do, was I would have to go to the rabbis in Jerusalem. I said, what? All of us are supposed to know how to do this. Why would I have to go to the rabbis when everything is on the calendar in the sky? And the reason they say that is because they're not on the path of years. They're in the matrix. And to follow them, or anyone that tells you you have to adjust a calendar to find Yah's days, is to say that Yah needs your help. He doesn't have the ability to open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing where there's not room enough to receive it. He doesn't have the power to do that. You have denied him. You have spit in his face to create a delusion. What delusion? Because you put an adjustment on paper, it's not going to stop the time in the heavens. The Father is looking at the time that he created in the heaven. He's not looking at your time that you put down here on paper. Because you made an adjustment doesn't mean he's going to adjust his time in the sky to come to you. If you do that, you have made your bed. Revelation, the unveiling, chapter 3, verse 12. Him that overcomes what? The matrix. What is the matrix? This world. Will I make a pillar in the temple of my Yah? What if you don't overcome? And he shall go out no more. The person that overcomes will be secure. And I will write upon him the name of my Yah. Please, in my forehead. And the name of the city of my Yah. What name is that? The New Yerushalayim, which comes down out of heaven from my Yah. O my Yah, O my Yah. Who's speaking here? Yahusha. Messiah. And I will write upon him my new name. New name? He had a name on his thigh that men didn't know. Will he write his name, his new name upon you? If you don't overcome the matrix? And this matrix is dealing with time. Do you want to know how to identify if a person is in a strong matrix delusion? Let me tell you what they're going to say. If you don't adjust the calendar, you're going to find your Passover, all the way back in the winter months. Do you know what they just confessed to you? They're trying to control the weather, just like the Gentiles. Listen to what Yirmiyahu said. Are there any among the vanity of the Gentiles that can cause rain? Are not you he, O Yahuwah? Therefore, I will wait on you. Listen to what they are saying. We're not going to wait on you because we don't believe in you. We believe in only the work of our own hands. Brother Daoud, what work is that? The pen and the paper? Here's the question. By you adjusting the calendar on paper, here in the matrix, in this world, does it change anything that is happening in the heavens? Contemplate on that. And while you're contemplating on that, this evening, look for Hadash. Let me tell you the extraordinary thing about this. The same renewed moon that you will see this evening is the same renewed moon, Hadash, that Masha and Aharon saw in the land of Egypt. Shalom.